Welcome back to the Bears Buddy podcast. I am Buddy, your host, and we have got a show for you today. This is wild. Last week was insane. There's a lot of news that came out. So without further ado, let's get into a quick recap. Tuesday, the Bears starting Pro Bowl center Drew Dalman announces his retirement at 27. The Bears announced they are set to host Commanders' former center Tyler Beyodish. Wednesday, the Bears become the Vegas favorites to win Max Crosby. Thursday morning, the Bears trade DJ Moore to the Buffalo Bills along with this year's 5th round pick in exchange for a 2nd round pick in this year's draft. Thursday night, the Bears announced they are releasing former Pro Bowl linebacker Tremaine Edmunds. Friday morning, the Chargers agree to sign Tyler Beyodish, and Bears start to focus on Tyler Linderbaugh. Friday night, the Bears trade a 2027 5th round pick for the Patriots starting Super Bowl center Garrett Bradbury. And then, to top it all off, the Ravens trade 2 1st round picks for Max Crosby, putting an official end to the Max Crosby sweepstakes. That was a lot of news. Let's go back real quick and just talk a little bit about Drew Dalman. So the whole Drew Dalman situation is absolutely wild. But as you know, he's a center. He's been in the league for 5 years. He just came off his best season as a Bear, where he went to his first Pro Bowl. But the thing about a center is that you're going head-to-head, whether a nose tackle is on you or not, you are getting slammed every single game. The other thing is the weight component, right? He has to get up to 300 pounds. A lot of times your build isn't exactly that, but it can hold the 300 pounds. So there's a lot of demand on you. His dad was a center his dad was in the league for a while with the 49ers. So I don't know the full story there. Maybe he saw something in his dad. Maybe his dad had experience with it. We don't know the story yet, but we will keep a close eye on that. And then reports came out, again, we don't know exactly what it is. Insiders and reporters, they don't report everything that they know, or else how would they keep those bloodlines available, right? They're not going to say everything they know, and they don't want to be the smartest person in the room. That's the smartest way to stay an insider, is to play by the rules. So it does come out, though, that the Bears are looking into Tyler Beyodish. Then, Friday morning, the Chargers agree to sign Tyler Beyodish. But now everybody's talking about Tyler Linderbaugh. And I didn't know if that made sense to the Bears because, again, he's looking at somewhere between $80 and $90 million over the next 4 years. Now, he is a top 5 center, so you could argue that, the highest paid position in the league is quarterback. So you need to spend as much money, if not 3 times as much, to protect that guy. And Tyler Linderbaugh would be that guy, So we could have a young guy. He's 25 years old. He looks like a thumb. He's an absolute dude of a player there. So that was somebody that, I was thinking that, maybe we could get. But as things go on, we realized later that night on Friday that we're getting Garrett Bradbury. And he's had a little bit of a tough outing this whole entire time in the NFL. He was a 1st round pick out of North Carolina State, where he was teammates with Joe Thuney. So a lot of people are questioning the validity of Garrett Bradbury. And when you stack him up, PFF rankings between Drew Dalman, it's not good. I mean, damn it, we had a good one in Drew Dalman. Come on, man. I love Drew Dalman. I loved his story. He was such a smart guy. I mean, I'm talking like he's dead. No, the guy's phenomenal. I would love it if he came back into the league, Could you imagine that story? If Drew Dalman teams up with Dan Rochar, comes back and he starts to coach, that would be phenomenal. I could see him going to Stanford and coaching. His sister was a part of the either announcing crew out there or the reporting crew out there. So, he's got ties into Stanford still. His family's still back in California. He he was starting to become a real part of the Bears here. And I know that might sound stupid to say, but like him and Caleb Williams were really starting to become a solid unit. Remember in the beginning of the season, he racked up a few penalties, and I was questioning myself like, man, if we hadn't gotten him for such an amazing contract, like we stole him, dude. His contract, 3 years for $48 million. We're talking about Tyler Lindenbaum over here, 4 years, 80 to 90. And I know that, Drew Dalman hadn't really proven himself, but if you look at the PFF numbers, they're really good. They've been really good since he came into the league. He didn't start all the games in his first year, but that being said, he was a stud, and he's been a stud since day one. So then let's go on a little bit further down. Max Crosby and the Bears seem like they are going to become a tandem. Like that's it. Like on Wednesday and Thursday it was heating up. We trade DJ Moore to the Buffalo Bills along with a 5th round pick in exchange for a 2nd round pick in this year's draft. And there's two contradictory stories here because in the back of my head, I'm thinking, well, we have 2 1st round picks the next 2 years, and now we have 3 2nd round picks. I could see us packaging together a 1st round pick and 2 2nd round picks to give to the Raiders. But then by Friday, it seemed like we were not favorites at all. At least that's what it felt like as a Bears fan. Vegas still had us at plus 180. Vegas had the Ravens at plus 700. And I'm screenshotting this, like hour by hour. And it's really not changing. The day before, I will say that we were minus 150. And then the next day, by Friday, we were plus 180. So yes, there's a variance, but it wasn't that crazy. So for the Ravens to jump up and make that move absolutely blew my mind. Not nearly as much as the Drew Dalman story. Okay. So we talked a little bit about the Drew Dalman story. We talked a little bit about the Max Crosby story. All in all, I'm happy that we didn't get Max Crosby. I have not been leaning into that side of the media because it's not my favorite story. And now if Max Crosby came here, we saw what Max Crosby did against the Bears this last season, and it was a sight to see. That was some really good football we saw by Max Crosby. I mean, he had Caleb on the ropes the entire game. Caleb is who he is. We win that game, win a blocked field goal. I mean, it was absolute cinema. Max Crosby would have been great here, but the ramifications of his contract, having to re-sign him, which the Ravens are probably going to do here in the next couple weeks, and go down that road, it's just not beneficial. You look at the Seattle Seahawks, you look at the Patriots, they did a great job with young people. They've got a mix of older guys, but a lot of their guys are young. So in order to keep that Super Bowl window open, you need a lot of young talent. And then that leads us right into the DJ Moore conversation. The Bears trade DJ Moore to Buffalo Bills, along with a 5th round pick in exchange for a 2nd round pick this year. So DJ Moore thing is tough because the way that I feel about DJ Moore is he's a Walter Payton Man of the Year award winner. He's a guy that's going to show up every single day. He did not miss a single game while he was with the Bears. Say what you will, but stability for high-achieving people is something that you need to be around. These guys in the NFL, in any professional sport, are different than you and I. They go to extreme lengths to accomplish their goals. A guy like DJ Moore has been beat up his whole entire career. I went back and I watched Justin Fields and DJ Moore clips, for some nostalgia. And DJ Moore's getting jacked up there. His back has been broken for the last 3 years since he's been with the Bears. And the dude is an absolute dude. He comes back and he hits the walk-off touchdown twice against the Packers. So I'm going to miss DJ Moore, but the trade that we got for him, in my opinion, I've made several TikToks about this. DJ Moore is worth at least a second round pick in this year's draft. That's how I felt about it. I mean, I mocked one up, and I think that, we could have traded something for him to the Jets, I think it was, and it was like swap a first round pick and DJ Moore and then give us a second round. So like that's what it is. Then Thursday night, Tremaine Edmunds gets dropped, and this was something that we all knew was coming. It was a little surprising to me that the Bears would let him go and seek a trade if he wanted to, his team seek a trade, which is kind of like a slap in the face. I mean, Tremaine Edmunds he's a baller. Again, he's 27 years old. Robert Saleh called him an Avatar character from the Avatar movie. The guy is a genetic freak. Like, he's a stud. He got hurt last year. He's making $17 million this year. He wasn't the same player when he came back from injury. And so now you're kind of sitting there and thinking, like, is this the guy that we want to carry on? And obviously the answer was no. Dennis Allen feels like he could get along without him. And so does Ben Johnson, and so does Ryan Poles. Obviously, like, that hurts too. That, like, these guys don't just do it without a conscience. Tremaine Edmunds it's Chicago guy, So that being said, it opens up a lot of cap. So do we bring back Kevin Byard? Do we bring back Jaquan Brisker, one of my favorite players? So then this brings us to our next topic, the last topic for today. If you don't know, free agency starts on the 11th, and the Bears' biggest need to fix in free agency is left tackle. I believe the cement has settled on trades. The defense will be built through the draft. So, say what you want about Ryan Poles' draft history here. If you go and look at his history, like, Gervon Dexter Sr. is the biggest miss because he's a defensive lineman that was picked in the second round or earlier. Shamar Turner, the tape hasn't been out yet on him. He was starting to become a contributing member of this roster, but then he got injured. Ben Johnson was very upset about that because he's a guy that loves ball, and he's another guy that comes into the room every day ready to play. That's who they drafted. So I believe they will build this line through the draft. I think Taylor Decker from the Lions, he's 33 years old next season. His market value is $21 million a year, 2 years for 32. Only guarantee the first year. I apologize for that. The numbers are $21 million a year, and he's looking for a 2-year contract, so that's $42 million. Only guarantee the first year. That way we could get out of that if we need to. If Ozzie Trapillo comes back the second half of the year and he's just killing it. Like, that's when we let go of Taylor Decker, and that's when Ozzie Trapillo cements himself as our guy. Defense in the draft. And my opinion is we cannot pick Caden McDonald out of Ohio State because he's too slow. Now, if we had some efficient edge rushers that knew how to funnel in and, set the edge for the rush, then I would say, okay, cool. Let's go out and get a Caden McDonald because he is a phenomenal talent. And some team is going to get very lucky with him. But I think that we need a guy like Peter Woods, somebody that could get through that line, somebody that's not just going to block it up. Peter Woods from Clemson would be my pick. His pro day is on Friday, this Friday the 13th in Death Valley, Clemson. And I think that Danielle Hunter completely fucked the market after agreeing to the 1-year $40.1 million extension that the Houston Texans gave him. So I think that Trey Hendrickson's number went up to probably 30, so I don't think that that's in our budget, honestly. I would not be surprised if nothing happens with Trey Hendrickson and the Bears. I feel like, Giants probably get another edge rusher. Jets get an edge rusher. I don't know. But we will be looking at Alex Anzalone, Demario Davis, and Cam Jordan. Those are the few guys that I think that we are going to take a look at. That's all I have for you today. As always, thank you so much for sticking around to the end. I'm Buddy, your host. As always, bear down.